Hey guys, thanks for joining us and for downloading again. We have a super fun show coming up with the Australian James Swanwick, who has a super helpful set of skills to help guys approach women and talk to women. But
even if you don't speak the same language.
Yeah. Actually, he told us he's going to tell us a pretty cool story about approaching a woman not speaking her language. So stay tuned for that. But we do just want to let you know that we have an awesome show coming up live of our podcast taping at the Hollywood Improv October. In Los Angeles, Hollywood. Well, not Hollywood, Florida. Thank God I'd kill myself. Taping at the Hollywood Improv October 19th at 7:30. So we're really excited about that. And we want you guys to come and put your butts in the seats. But also we're actually looking for someone out there, male or female, who's struggling or who has gone through something. And we want to make you part of our show.
So you can struggle with us.
You can struggle in public.
Yes.
What's more glamorous, people? So make sure you guys can go to the Hollywood Improv online, buy tickets. Again, that's October 19th. Tickets are only $10. And you get to see our lovely faces. And
live in person.
Who doesn't like looking at me? I mean, seriously.
If you're really struggling and you want to be part of the show, write into the same address that you write to Overanalyze This, but with the subject line, I want to struggle with you. Write into ask@askwomenpodcast.com.
PodcastOne.com presents the Ask Women Podcast. A place to dissect the female mind.
You don't know how I feel.
And explain it to men in terms they can actually understand. Boobs. Now, here's the lovely ladies of Ask Women.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Ask Women Podcast, where you get real advice straight from the source. Us. I'm Kristen Carney, host, comedian, whatever, stuff like that. Also here with Marni Kinrys, best-selling author and owner of the Wing Girl Method. And we're here with James Swanwick. And I'm
Great
saying
pronunciation.
Thank you. It was like very
it only took
Australian.
her 20 times to practice it to get it
I
right.
had my fingers crossed while I said that. Who's with us, and we did your podcast recently.
Yes, thank you for being on it. It was great.
That was great.
We got good feedback from it too.
Yeah.
I remember seeing people said you should be the guy on our show and stuff like that.
So we shall
that's
see.
Nice.
We shall
that's
see.
That's nice. Yeah,
See if you last.
There you go. My Alpha Male Club podcast listeners loved you. They loved you.
Oh,
I
great.
got lots of
Okay.
tweets about you girls, so thank you.
Oh, that feels good. Well, hopefully our audience loves you as well. I'm sure they will. I wouldn't be surprised. It's funny. Okay, I'm just going to bring something up before I get to my Wing Girl Minute. But, okay, today when me and Kristen got into here, we were doing mic checks. So, like, before you start recording the show, you do your mic check. It was a bit echoey. And we both said testing 1, 2, 3. And Kristen was like, whoever does, like, a cool mic check. So we record 2 episodes
I tried
in
to
a
figure
day.
it out and I can't.
No, but then suddenly on the day where we've made this statement, 2 people did amazing
Cool
checks.
mic checks.
Yeah, we had Dennis Hoff on the first show, and he said something about Oreos and 69ing. It was an amazing mic check, and then you just did the
wasn't
same
surprising.
thing. You're like, hello. It was an amazing test. So just letting you know that Dennis did a good
Confidence.
job on the show, and we assume you're going to now because of a
Would
great
you like me to do a
check.
mic check?
Yeah, yes,
Actually
do
do
it.
it.
For
Okay, I'll do a
people.
mic check. Here we go. This is I used to host Sports Center on ESPN.
Ah,
so,
that's why.
So this is my thing. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sports Center. James Swanwick here alongside the girls from Ask Women podcast. Great to have you here. Let's start with a smorgasbord of information for men on women.
That's a good
It's
one. It's
confidence.
much
You
better
don't-
than testing 1, 2, 3.
You don't guess what you're saying. Whenever I do the intro, I guess what I'm going to say. Like,
Right.
should I introduce myself like this, or should I say this about the host
Yeah.
coming in? So it's about confidence, which is maybe what we'll talk about today. Again, I'm guessing what
I'm guessing because that's all we ever talk about.
Yeah, I'm second guessing myself.
Like, maybe we should talk about this. But before we start talking about this, let's get to a Wing Girl Minute. David Buss, author of The Evolution of Desire, performed a study of over 10,000 people from around the world from 37 different countries to discover
That sounds like not fun at all.
discover what people are attracted to for both short and long-term partnerships. He found that what women find attractive in men is consistent no matter where you are from. What women desire and crave from a biological point of view are men that bring them closer to resources, not money or power or looks, but resources. For example, drive, passion, intelligence, status, and friendship circles are all indicators of high ability to obtain resources. So stop fixating on looks, wealth, and power as attraction hooks and start tapping into what biologically attracts women. And that is my Wing Girl Minute.
Lovely.
Very sciencey Wing Girl Minute.
Well, we wanted to talk today about the vibe that you put out and the energy that people get. So I wanted to just tell a quick story, and I don't know if you guys have any experience with this, but I'm a complete novice. But our chakras that from the yogi culture, that we have like 5 different
Look at
chakras.
this. Okay. I don't even know if you're right. Sure.
Yes. How do you not know this? You seem like the type
I know
that
about
would
chakras.
Know about
Okay.
chakras? I don't know any of
Yes,
this.
you have like your chakra. I mean, I'm butchering this, but you have like a chakra in your forehead, which I think they
your
call the
heart.
third eye.
Yeah.
Your heart, your throat, your like crotch area, which mine has like no energy coming out of.
Yeah.
So there's like, that's the area. Your stomach has a chakra, but I had a really cool experience where this woman held, again, I don't know the terminology, but it's like a little pendulum essentially, and she held them over my chakras. And I think this is common. If people are familiar with it, they'll go, "Oh yeah, I know what she's talking about." If not, you'll think I'm crazy. But you hold the pendulum over your chakras and it will swing either clockwise or counterclockwise,
I've
and
seen
also
this before.
back and forth. And so if it swings counterclockwise, I think that means there's like a negative energy. If it swings clockwise, there's a positive energy, and if it goes back and forth, it's like a kind of like a dead energy, or like
that was like right
that was my
crotch area.
vagina. Yeah, no, it didn't even swing at all. Like I'm literally
It's
not
just like
kidding.
there's nothing
It was
here.
like so anyway, she put it over my my forehead, and it did like a nice clockwise spin.
lots of stuff going on.
So she was talking about the different areas of my body that need more focus. Like my friend always says, she has an overactive throat chakra, and she talks a lot and is like really narcissistic. So I think that's why hers is always swinging crazy. But it's actually really interesting if you guys went to a like a spiritual bookstore or places like that, they sell these, and you can buy them and hang it and see, you have someone do it to you, but you can see where you're at and what energy is actually coming out of your body. Because it's crazy when someone says, "Oh, I get a weird vibe." The vibes are actually coming out of your forehead and your throat and your stomach. So those things are real and they actually exist. So when you give a girl a creepy vibe, you're literally giving her a vibe.
You're giving her bad energy. And
Right.
she can't actually see the energy, but she can feel the energy.
Exactly.
Because all we are is a whole bunch of energy. You've got energy, I've got energy.
Right.
And at the
I
moment,
have very little energy. I'm pretty tired today.
but we can't actually see it. But there actually
feel
is
it.
an energy force that's going between us at the moment, and our pheromones and our biological makeup is reacting to that energy. It's either repel or attract. Repel or attract.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys, I know we're going to be talking about guys today and how they attract women. A lot of times if they've got the wrong energy when they're approaching a woman, the woman doesn't even know why she's repelled by that guy. She just is. The guy could be handsome.
Exactly.
But it's called creepy. That's how we label it.
It's called creepy, yeah. So having the right energy is so important.
Right. Well, she did another thing. This lady, she didn't abduct me, I swear. It was like I did this willingly. She took 2, and it sounds crazy, but she took 2 wire hangers, and they're straightened out, and you have one end flipped up and one end flipped down.
Yeah.
And so you almost have a little handlebar. You hang on to these hangers. And so she said to me, so she pointed both of these straight hangers directly at me, and she was probably about 6 feet from me, and she said, "I want you to just, think of a thought that doesn't really make you feel, something kind of boring and nothing that really turns you on." So I thought, I made a
Your
thought.
boyfriend, right?
Yeah. Shh. I thought, and the hangers actually respond to the field of energy. So the hangers slightly kind of opened a little bit.
What?
Very subtly. And then she said, "Now I want you to imagine in your head, sing a song in your head that's the most powerful song to you that makes you feel moved."
What did you sing?
Oh Holy Night.
No, you didn't.
Yes, it's my favorite Christmas song, and I love Christmas, so that's what I sang.
Holy Night.
But
Okay.
I didn't sing it out loud. And I know you're
Right.
Jewish, so you wouldn't understand. Right. But I did it quietly in my head, and it's a very powerful song to me. And the hangers literally swung open.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, "Is this
I'm going to
woman-
grab a
is-
hanger tonight.
Right, but I know I usually use them for the other thing that women need them for. But I was thinking, is this woman a charlatan, or is like this actually happening? So then I did it to her, and so I held the hangers, and she, thought whatever thought. Yeah, they kind of opened, and then she sang a song in her head, and those wire hangers literally went whoop, and they opened, and I've been the same since, but I've been slightly different.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting. Well, the reason that we're talking about this sphere of things, I don't even know what I'm talking
it's a
about.
sphere.
But
It's
a
very-
sphere. It's a sphere.
it's
So
good.
because when we were on your show, you were talking about this one girl that you had met who you guys spoke totally different languages, couldn't understand
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
But what you were putting
You
out,
showed her a wire hanger, and she was like,
she's like, that's the guy I
Imagine
want to
chasing
be
across
with.
the street with a hanger.
Be like, just sing a
They're
song.
opening. They're opening. You like me. I know it.
But that's an interesting story. You didn't speak the same language, but you were still able to communicate to her. Because a
Yeah.
lot of guys think it's like, okay, what's the perfect line that I could say to a girl to make her want me, or
Yeah.
that she'll like literally take off her underwear and start having sex with me instantly.
Yeah.
But you know from that experience that that's not true.
Yeah, just to set the scene, I was in Buenos Aires, Argentina in 2009, and I was literally in my first week of Spanish lessons. And it was a lunch break during Spanish class. And I saw this beautiful Argentinian woman walk across the road. She had blonde hair, really beautiful. And in my mind, I'm like, go talk to her, go talk to her. But I didn't. I just froze like a statue. And I just watched her. She crossed the road, and then she walked on down out of my sight.
People started
down the
giving you
left.
tips. They thought you were one of those statues on like, the promenade.
I just did nothing. I did
Right.
nothing.
It's like frozen in time.
And literally for 5 minutes, this was the dialogue that was going on in my head. James, rock bottom. You've just hit rock bottom. You don't know that girl. She doesn't know you. You could have had a connection with her. All you needed to do was go up to her and say anything. It doesn't matter that you don't speak Spanish. It doesn't matter that you can't speak the language. As soon as you open your mouth, your chances improve, right? The chances of having a connection with that woman improve. And I'm literally feeling like just rock bottom. 5 minutes later, the same woman comes walking back up the street. And again, I get this feeling of like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
But you
Almost-
got a second chance.
I had a second chance, and I didn't
Luckily.
look up to God, but I was kind of thinking in my mind, I'm looking up and like, this is a sign. This is a sign. He's testing me again. Are you going to do it now?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you're not going to do it now?
Yeah.
Are you going to be a man or are you going to be a mouse?
Right.
And so I said, all right, I got to do it. And I went, okay, let's go. And I literally ran down the stairs. The Spanish class was sort of on a first floor, and I could see it from the first floor. I ran down the stairs and I raced across the street. She was on the other side of the street by the time I got there. And I'm like, hola, hola, hola. Because that was the extent of my Spanish at this stage.
It's a bad school. 1 weekend. That's all you know.
Awful.
Yeah.
And she turned around and she saw me coming, and she had a shocked look on her face. I mean, I would be shocked if I was a pretty girl and there was some gringo running across the street through traffic trying to dodge cars, and he was
Right.
like, hola, hola, hola. And I think she must have initially thought that I had the wrong person. She just turned around and kept walking. And I kept saying, hola, hola, hola. And I had my hand up at the end. She turned around again, and then she stopped and she looked at me. There wasn't a smile. It was just shock. It was just like, what the hell's going on?
The worst thing that could happen is she could turn around and say hello, like she knows English. You know?
Like, hello.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine somebody screaming, hi, hi, hi? It's weird.
And I went up to her and I started smiling, and I started smiling like, oh, and my Spanish is so bad. And I think I said to her, do you speak English? She's like, oh, no. She started shaking my hands. And she thought that I was asking for directions, which I wasn't. I was clearly just trying to talk to her. And now my limited Spanish at this point, I thought that I was saying to her, would you like to have a drink with me? Which is, ¿Quieres tomar bebida conmigo? And what I actually...
Those classes paid off, I
Those
see.
classes
Yes.
paid off. But instead what I said was, ¿Quieres tomar bebé conmigo? Which is, would you like to have a baby with me? I got baby
I love that.
and drink, bebida. And she's looking at me and
Happens a
go...
lot.
That's great.
I didn't realize that I was getting it wrong, by the way.
Right.
So I just had to go off by her reaction. And she was sort of like half smiled, and then she like did the finger as they do, not the finger like the up yours,
The
but like
shaking.
as they do
No,
in South
no.
America, they wave their index finger to you like this to me. No, yeah, no. She's like, oh, no. And she started walking off. And I started saying, oh, tu numero, your number. And she's like, no. And I just walked with her for 1 block. And to walk 1 block's about 60 seconds, just like a New York block. And I walked with her and I asked her 3 times and she said no 3 times. And then finally I went, email? And I kind of like, the word for email was correo. But I didn't know what it was at this stage. So I'm literally like going, email. And then finally she said,
James is
okay.
writing on his hand.
I'm writing on my hand. That's right. And she finally gave it to me. She said, "All right, have my email address." So I took it, and then I ran across the road. My heart was pounding. I was still nervous throughout the whole
of course.
process. And then I told the story to my Spanish teacher. And anyway, I emailed her myself that night in my terrible Spanish, and I said, "Great to meet you. May I have your number?" And she emailed me back that night with her number, saying, "Yeah, it was nice to meet you too. Here's my number." The next day, I had my Spanish teacher phone her for me because I couldn't speak Spanish on
Right.
the phone, and he set up a date for me. He said, "I'm calling on behalf of James. He'd like to meet up with you." And that Sunday, we met at a shopping mall in downtown Buenos Aires. She turned up. She was wearing.
And you went shopping for a baby.
We're
Yeah,
shopping for a
exactly.
baby. But she turned up in a beautiful red coat, and it was winter at the time.
So
She
you
was
put
just
effort into it too.
Yeah, and she was lovely. And we literally just walked around a shopping mall like we were back in being 15, 16 years old. I bought her an ice cream. I'm like telling her music like, you too? You like you too? Bon Jovi? Oh, Bon Jovi. See. Like, it was really, really childish stuff. But anyway, the day ended with a kiss, and I ended up dating that girl for 3 months. And it was wonderful. Her name's Nadia. And in fact, a couple of weeks ago, I told this very story on my podcast, the Alpha Male Club podcast. And I told my listeners to go to my Instagram account, and I posted a photo of her. In fact, Brian, who's here, can you grab my phone for me, Brian? I'm going to show the girls
I would love to see her picture.
Photo of the woman in question. So anyway,
this is what a lot of men do, though. They're like, I swear she's hot. Like, I promise you. Because if she wasn't, like, whatever. She was
I got to prove that she's hot. Yeah. So that, I mean, for me, it was... The lesson from that really was, as soon as you open your mouth, your chances improve.
100%.
I wasn't creepy. I mean, I'm sure I looked creepy as I was racing across the road.
Ola.
And do you want to have a baby with me?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
kind of creepy. But she could we were talking about energy. She could understand the energy. Once she figured out what the energy was, and that was that I was clearly just flirting and trying to get her number.
And making a very cute attempt at it. Because when you see someone fail, when someone's not perfect at something, that's actually incredibly attractive if they do it with grace.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's her, Nadia.
We're seeing the picture here.
That's a picture. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's adorable. Oh, I love her.
Oh, so do
I.
She's
adorable. Great cheekbones.
What is this blonde hair attached to your phone?
That's her.
Seriously?
She's coming out of the phone. So yeah, if you're listening and you want to check out the girl, then just go to my Instagram account or my Twitter account at James Swanwick, and you can see the girl.
See James's hot girls that he dates.
Yeah,
that's what
right.
you're gonna see.
At James
She's
Swanwick.
very cute. She's so cute.
Yeah,
no, but that's wonderful. Like, because that is the main thing, that it's not about what you say, it's about how you say it, which I think is a good topic for today's chapter in the man's playbook.
Are you horny to win?
Okay, so that's what this week's chapter is going to be about. It's not about what you say; it's about how you say it. So when we talk to other people,
unless you're saying something like "I want to murder you,"
right? Exactly. But if you say it with a smile on your face,
like "Hey, baby,"
like okay, let's go.
It's not as effective as "You want to have a baby with me,"
right? Exactly.
That's scarier. That's actually much scarier.
No, but a lot of guys believe that it is like this line, like Marni, give me the best line to say to a woman. Tell me exactly what to say, and I'll always say to them, I can tell you what's the best thing for me to say because I can own it, but you may not be able to pull it off the same way, and it will seem inauthentic and insincere, and therefore you'll fall flat on your face, and it won't work for you.
Yeah.
Do you believe that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it differs from person to person. I mean, if in doubt, just say hello, and if in doubt again, say, what's your story? Hi, what's your story? Rather than, hi, what's your name, and what do you do, and where are you from, which is pretty traditional. Just say, what's your story? Because when you say, what's your story, the person goes, well,
they have to think for a second.
They have to think, and then lots of different things come out of their mouth, like what they're passionate about, problems they're having in their life at that moment. I mean, I've literally asked that of people at parties and said, "What's your story?" And they're like, "Oh,
I like that." It initiates
because it makes you think about it. Like, what is my story, and what should I respond to this?
Right.
Yeah. And so that's a really great way to initiate conversation as well. I mean, I was just out at a bar, a restaurant on Saturday night, Laurel Hardware on Santa Monica, and I ran into a couple of Australian friends of mine. And one of them is just plain hopeless with women. I mean, he is hopeless. He shouldn't be.
Does he listen to your podcast, the Alpha Male Podcast?
He does now. Don't worry. After I put him onto it, but he's 29. He's 6'3". He's in shape. He's not like amazingly handsome, but he's not offensive. You know, and he's hopeless. And he was saying, "Oh, I don't know what to do." And there were 3 girls standing next to us. Okay, and it was me, 2 guys, and 3 girls standing next to us. And I said, I am not going to approach those women, and the other guy in the group is not going to approach the women. You are going to approach those women. And he's like, what? No, what? What do I say? And I said, I don't care what you say. I just want you to say something. I'm not going to hand it to you on a platter. I'm not going to say this. I just want you to go in there and say anything that comes into your mind. And you're going to do it when I start counting down from 3.
Is he American, so he doesn't have a cool Australian
He's
accent
Australian.
like you? Okay, good. He's already got a leg up.
Okay, great.
In America.
Exactly. Yeah.
In America. Not in Australia. Because you're common everyday folk down there.
Yeah, I go down to Australia, I got nothing.
Yeah, you're nothing down there, but up here you're gold here with this voice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're a star, kid.
Thank you. Yeah. So 3, 2, 1, and he turned and he did it. And he went in there.
What did he say?
It was super awkward. He went, "Hi, ladies," and they went, "Hi." And then he said, "What's going on?" And then they kind of awkwardly said, "Blah blah blah blah." And I was just kind of like listening and listening. And then the conversation just went from there.
Yeah.
It was super awkward for the first 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But after the awkwardness was over, he started talking to them. He held court with them for about 1 or 2 minutes, and then me and my other friend came in and started talking to them, and then there was three girls, 3 guys, and we had a very nice, pleasant conversation.
We had an orgy.
Yeah, I would have liked to have said that's how the story ended, but I wasn't.
Well, let's just say that's how it ended.
Yeah, let's say that.
Show.
Okay, yeah, we went back and we had
For
a
the
massive
show's
orgy.
sake.
It was awesome. So that just goes to show, all you got to do as a guy, I know it's hard. I know it's so hard to do it. You talk yourself out of it. But all he had to do was have someone push him and just say, hi.
Right.
That's it.
Well, I like what you say, which is your chances increase the minute you open your mouth.
Yeah.
The minute you
It's
open your
definitely
mouth.
true.
The minute you open your mouth.
I know people, my brother specifically, I won't name his name because he's
Something Carney.
but he has this thought process that if he's just there, people will come to him.
Yeah.
Showing up is the biggest.
He would be
thing
very
for him.
successful in entertainment in Los Angeles.
Well, that's the thing, is that for a long time when he was younger, he wanted to be an actor.
Right.
But he just thought, because people used to tell him, because he's handsome, and so he would say, oh, I want to become an actor. People say I look like this guy, and
But he wouldn't
I
do
have so
anything
much
about it, it
charisma.
sounds like.
But he wouldn't go take an acting class.
Right.
And so he thought that just showing up and being
Yeah.
enough was enough. And obviously it wasn't.
It doesn't work that way. So could you give some advice to the guys that are listening? How do they get that confidence on their own without having to
if they're just by themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's literally just say to yourself, I am going to talk to 3 groups of people, and I'm going to do it in the next 5 minutes. And also, let go of the outcome. So too many guys walk in and go, I've got to find a girl, and I've got to get her number, and I've got to make out with her, and then I've got to do this. Forget the outcome. Just be sociable. Just go out there and start to talk to people. Here's the thing. When you walk into a place, it's not enough, like you said, to just stand there and just hope people come for you. They're not going to do it. You have to take the initiative. But set yourself a goal of saying, I'm going to converse with 50% of this bar or this restaurant in the next 2 hours. 50% of the people that come walking through that door, 50% of the people here, I'm going to know their name by the time I walk out of here 2 hours later. And that way you don't get stuck on one group of people. Plus you get that practice of getting momentum. And then it just becomes, by the time you open up a third group of women or guys and women or whatever, it's just like, I can do this. Now I can just very casually move into the next group. The hardest step is the first step. I know it's hard. I've been there. Trust me. But as soon as you take that first step, and as soon as you first say hello and you get into a conversation, then it's so much easier to transition into the next group. Another great tip is position yourself at a bar where there's a lot of traffic. Don't stand over in the corner. Don't stand in the middle of the room where there's not people coming through. Stand on the corner of the bar. So women are coming up to the bar on the left of you. Women are coming up to the bar on the right of you. Guys are there. Guys are there. And you want them bumping into you a little bit, because you go, oh, sorry. Oh, hey, I like your shoes. Oh, hey, nice watch.
What do you say? Watch it, lady.
Yeah, watch it, lady. I'm going to take you
little
home and
smirk.
take you down.
Exactly. That's the thing. Exactly what you just said. You want to put yourself in a high traffic position, no
Yeah.
matter where you are, whether it's Whole Foods or it's a bar,
unless you're in a car.
There is more opportunity for conversation, for things that you can pluck out of thin air and just provide commentary to it.
Yes. Yeah. I'll tell you, I teach women relationship stuff as well. And it's funny because 66%, they've done studies on this, 66% of interactions, the initial interactions between a man and a woman, is actually instigated by the woman,
yeah.
which is crazy. Yeah. It's not necessarily the woman coming up and going, hi. It might be the woman showing her neck or catching a glance.
I actually heard it was a higher percentage than that, so I'm surprised it's only 60%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. It's crazy when you hear that and go, oh my God, so women are initiating this thing. So what I teach women to try and get the attention of a guy verbally, if they want to open the conversation, is 2 words.
Hi.
Nice watch.
Oh, that's good.
Hey, nice shirt. Nice shoes.
Unless they're not wearing a watch.
That's right. Unless they're not wearing a watch. Then the
I'm not
guy's
wearing
like,
a watch.
this girl wants to take me down.
Yeah.
So it's so simple. There's 2 words. So for a guy trying to initiate a conversation with a woman, just say, all right, I got 2 words. Just say, nice shoes, nice outfit, nice handbag, nice hair. Gee, I like your hair. Something as simple as that. As long as it's genuine, and we were talking before about not being creepy, it has to be genuine. So don't say nice hair if you think her hair sucks. Don't say nice shoes if you have no interest in her shoes. Right. But if you find something that you like, then pay a compliment.
Right. But then don't fixate on that.
No, don't fixate on that. Don't say nice eyes. That's the worst thing.
Nice
don't
eyes.
compliment the eye. Don't compliment anything to do with her physical beauty rather than an accessory that she has. I know I said hair before, but hair's a little bit less creepy or less kind of powerful.
I like your lips. And it's
Yeah,
like,
that's
but
not good.
It can also, though, I know you shouldn't fixate on it, but it can also help propel the conversation, because if someone is wearing a watch that you really like, or like Marni's watch, I actually love Marni's watch today.
Cool, right?
I'm like, not that a girl would be wearing exactly the same watch as a guy, but you would follow up with, where did you get it? Or what brand is that? Or I like that brand. So it can at least create some common bond to then move forward in the conversation.
Let's do an example, shall we? Tell me about my watch. Say something about my watch. Ah, yeah, blah, blah, blah.
The first thing that actually comes to my mind, which is going to be bad for this, is, it looks like my boyfriend's watch. But it really does. It looks like the exact same watch.
This is actually a replica. It's a fake Rolex. I bought this in Bogota, Colombia.
Believe me, he does not have a real Rolex.
I got this in Bogota, Colombia. I was down in Bogota for 6 months, and every single day I'd walk past the street corner to go and have lunch, and this guy would hey, you want to buy Rolex today?
He had the coat where you open up the coat and it's just full of watches.
Yeah, that guy.
That's amazing.
And every time I'd said, no, I don't want to buy that watch. And then on the last day, 3 hours before I was going to fly back to the States, I went, you know what? I'm going to entertain this guy. I will buy that watch. So I spent $100 on a fake Rolex.
Because he said hi to you. He would have never had that sale.
Exactly.
Full circle.
He increased his chances of a sale.
He said hi. I communicated with him. Now I just told you a story. Now we're talking about the story of the watch.
Exactly.
Now you think I'm a fake because I've got a fake watch.
But that's funny because you're honest. You're honest. You're not a tool who's like, oh yeah, it's like, Rolex, it's real. Baby.
Thank you. So there you go. So now look at that. We've just created a connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the guy who was selling me the watch created the connection. Now the three of us have created a connection over the watch. Now you don't think I'm a lying douchebag because I've just been honest about the fact that I'm wearing
one
a
more
replica
thing that I
watch.
do want to comment on before we finish this chapter in the man's book
About
is
your
that
watch.
about the watch, but is that you actually created the connection or enhanced the connection.
You
because
did,
you shared further. Right? You expanded on, she said, that's like my boyfriend's watch. You could have just said, it's this. But you went one step further and expanded and opened up and shared something about yourself.
I think something that a problem people run into is that if they do approach and they say, nice watch, and the person's like, thanks, and then it falls flat and that's it, then what do you do?
Well, what you do is you say why you think it's a nice watch. You go, you know what? It looks like my boyfriend's or whatever it is, what it means to you.
My dead boyfriend.
I think a lot of guys think that in order to be interesting, they have to be jumping out of airplanes every other weekend. But something interesting can be literally just what you think.
Yeah, totally. And look, I just talked about Bogota, Colombia. Maybe the woman who I was talking about, because I've been to Colombia. Oh my God, how was that? That's incredible. I want to go one day. Tell me about Colombia. And then all of a sudden the watch ceases to be a topic of conversation and you've moved on to travel. You've done world travel and then you move on to the bedroom. Hopefully if you... Weeks later, depending on how slow. Well, I was going to say a few hours later, but I didn't,
You want to be polite. This is asked
for. A few years later for me.
Tiptoe. Well, that's perfect. So that ends this week's chapter in the Man's Playbook. Thank you for participating and adding to our chapter.
And you can always hear more information from James on the Alpha Male podcast.
Yeah, the Alpha Male Club podcast. Check it out.
We're trying to get better.
Because when we were on your show, you were so great at it.
You got to say the Twitter handle as well. You've always got to say
so much, James. We have to go on baby steps. It's horrible. Okay, but what is the Twitter?
At James Swanwick, James Swanwick. James Swanwick.
Swanwick. Oh, God damn it. Oh.
And check out the Alpha Male Club podcast.
I said,
Swanwick. Okay, close, but still, go with the spelling that James
But because he's Australian, I think it comes across a little different in the accent. So I said,
that's true.
Swanwick.
The correct pronunciation is Swanwick. It's spelled Swanwick. But I'm going to let you ladies say something.
And
now they know how to get me on Twitter because they've heard it so many times.
Exactly. So now go follow him on Twitter because he has an excellent podcast that we were just featured on. So go listen to our episode and then listen to many more of his episodes. But James is going to stay with us through the second half of the show when we come back. Hey guys, it's Marni. Buying a car is a not so fun experience for most people, and it doesn't have to be. At TrueCar.com, they'll help you get rid of the fear that you may overpay. You know when you'll get a fair price because they show you what others paid for the car you're looking for. TrueCar.com analyzes what people are paying for their cars in their market and shares it with consumers so that they never have to overpay. Over 40,000 cars were sold by TrueCar certified dealers just last month. Users see an average savings of $3,046 off MSRP. TrueCar certified dealers go through a certification process and you work directly with a TrueCar representative that will honor your savings. TrueCar certified dealers believe that truth and transparency are essentials to a better buying experience. First, go to TrueCar.com and find out what others paid for the same vehicle in your market and around the country. Second, register at TrueCar.com to see upfront pricing information and lock in your savings certificate. And the third step is simple. Just print out your certificate and take it to the TrueCar certified dealer for a better hassle-free buying experience. TrueCar has the most comprehensive new car pricing information available and a certified network of dealers that offers a hassle-free car buying satisfying experience and negotiation-free guaranteed savings. Support the Ask Women podcast and shop at TrueCar.com.
And now, Katy Perry.
Imagine going on stage without any guitars, or keyboards, drums, or a microphone, and being expected to roar. Tough, right? It's the same with our teachers who are using their own money so students can learn. DonorsChoose.org is a charity that helps teachers get what they need for students to succeed. That's why Staples is donating $1 million to the cause.
Join Katy Perry and donate at staples.com/MakeRoarHappen.
You're listening to the Ask Women podcast, a Podcast One presentation.
Whatever. Hey guys, welcome back to the Ask Women podcast. We are here in the second half of the show, and we're just doing Overanalyze This. Lucky for you guys, so we're just going to be answering tons of questions, hopefully getting you guys some convoluted answers. But we have James here to keep us on track from the Alpha Male Club podcast. You can also follow him on Twitter at James Swanwick.
JamesSwanwick.
There's a silent W.
But I pronounced it correctly.
Spelled.
See, I get screwed either way. I pronounce it correctly, but they're not going to find it. And then I pronounce it the wrong way, but they'll find it.
Exactly.
Anyway.
So that was perfect, though.
Thank
Great
you.
that both of you work together. And
Great. Thank you, Kristen.
Yes, and
Thank
getting
you,
the
Marni.
information out there.
Big fans.
All
Love
right.
your work.
Thank you.
All right, so let's dive into Overanalyze This. So the show used to be called Analyze This, but then we overanalyze things. So now we've labeled it as Overanalyze. And people submit questions in, and we answer them. So get ready. But if you do want to submit questions, send the questions into ask@askwomenpodcast.com. Make sure your subject line is really cool or complimentary towards either Kristen or I or both of us, because that is the only way your questions
But do
will
remember,
get
Marni
answered.
opens the email. So.
Yes, I do. And there actually was one recently where it was like, Marni is the fucking best person ever.
Yeah, then you sent it to me.
I sent it to you and I'm like, see, somebody loves me. And it was the best email ever. Because usually Kristen gets a lot of attention on there and I never do.
Because I ask for it.
Exactly. Okay. So dear Marni and Kristen and guests, first I would like to say the Ask Women podcasts are a little bright spot in my week. If you guys ever decide to do a reality show, I would definitely watch it.
Ooh.
Like they want to watch our lives? How boring would that be? Second, as most men do, I need your sage womanly advice. I recently joined this online dating site. I got to talking with this girl for about 3 weeks. Very nice, but very shy girl. We eventually are in town the same weekend, and she suggests that we meet up at a club. We had sent about 300 messages back and forth at this point, so we had already planned to meet up the week after. We meet at this dance club, and it is easily one of the most awkward meetings I think I've ever had with somebody. Dancing was bad. Talking was almost non-existent, partly because of the large
do you want to
and
see how
crowded
well
bar.
I thrust my hips? Like, that's all you're going to learn about a person at the dance
The night ended about half hour later with me going in for a goodnight kiss that ended on the cheek. She mentioned that she still wanted to hang out the next week, but has blown off every one of my message. Oh wait, blow off my one message mentioning it with not even a reply. I know that the policy is 100% never put a girl on a pedestal and try the whole win her back kind of thing, especially because I barely even know this girl. But I can't help shaking the feeling that I should at least send her at least one message, not anything like dying to see you, but kind of like, hey, I know our meeting was really awk. He said awk.
I like because he's kind of got like a Valley Girl dialect going on here. So I'm like,
I'll read it that way.
this.
But I thought there was totally something
And it
here,
was awk,
and I
man.
thought you at least felt like totally the same thing. So let's try and meet up in some place where we can talk, grab coffee or something. Seriously, in need of some guidance. Chucky B.
Okay. I love Chucky. I think Chucky and I should go shopping together.
Totally.
And just judge everyone around us.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think?
I think it sounds like a disaster from start to finish.
Yes.
300 text messages back and forth before you actually meet the person is way too many. It's probably 298 more than what you should do. Meeting in a club when it's loud music and it's dark is a disaster. You can't communicate. You're only communicating with your look and dancing and, shaking your ass. Of course.
The other problem, I want to jump in here. The other problem with going to a club besides everything is that there's other competition at a club where everyone's dressed really sexy and they're all, again, like putting on the sexy dance moves that are like a primal weird thing.
Yeah.
And so they may completely lose interest in you if that's where you decide to go. If you go to like a small jazz club, you're only going to see like older people.
Well, you're not going to see anybody.
And so the
it's so
two
dark
of you
in a
are going to
jazz
be the
club.
center of attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I agree with the
I
two
totally
of you on
agree
the no
with
club
this,
thing.
with my thing.
But continue. I want to hear more.
So I would first date situation really is a coffee or going for a walk or doing something where there's not like like the sound of the club, and you kind of get, what did you say? Yeah.
What if they bonded on DJs? What if they were like, I like this club, I like that club? Like maybe. Well,
then meet beforehand for an hour before you go in and talk about how you're excited to go in there, and then make sure that at the end of the night you go and do a review for an hour. Like you go in to get a late night bite or an early morning bite. Not biting her obviously, but a bite to eat.
Yeah.
And that way you've got at least 2 hours of you're focused on one another. That's enough time for you to figure out whether there's a connection or not.
Right.
What should you do in this situation right now? I mean, look, I think you should probably just forget about it and move it on. But if you want to try again, there's no problem with you throwing out a text message or phoning her and trying to suggest another time to meet. But make sure the other time to meet is daytime. And you're going for a walk, you're having a coffee, you're walking through a museum or a park or whatever. I don't think people really go to museums on first dates anymore. But I mean, doing something where you can have conversation and you can just talk about things. Daytime dates are great, I think, because you get to really know the person then. So yeah, no harm in trying again.
And they can't hide behind any fancy lighting.
Exactly. So here's the thing. So I would usually say, like, Chucky B, like, why do you even want to see this girl? You say dancing was bad, talking was bad, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't even like her.
He has to have standards.
Yeah, well, you have to have some standards. But they did have 300 messages back and forth. So there was something established there where they did see a lot of each other's personalities before. So I actually would say, yeah, you should reach out to her again. But call out that elephant in the room that, you know what? I was disappointed with how the night went. Dancing was up. Not saying it was my fault or it was the club's fault, but just like dancing was up. Couldn't really hear you. Should have chosen somewhere a little bit better so that I actually could have gotten to know you because you seem cool. Like that's what you want to say is there was something there that's of interest, but we chose a bad venue.
I think the problem though with the 300 text messages back and forth, I actually texted my boyfriend back and forth before we became a couple, a lot before we ever met. But the problem I think with that, which I did with him, is you build the person up to something that they are not. So then when you meet them, 100%. Your expectations cannot be met.
Oh, it's terrible.
Right.
Never send 300 text messages beforehand because you're just having a conversation with someone's
thumbs. You
got
to keep your fingers healthy for the woman. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Text messaging before a date should only be about logistics.
Yes,
where are we going to meet?
How
are we going to meet? Meet you here at this time. Bang, the end, get out. And then everything in terms of creating connection should be in person and not at a club that's loud and you're yelling in the person's ear.
I agree.
Agreed. Okay, so Chucky B, take that advice. All right, and I'm sure he said that in like 2013.
Go to Chuck E. Cheese.
So hopefully you've
Chucky
done.
B.
Right. Okay, so the next question is really short. My wife is pregnant. That's the question.
Congratulations.
Get out of it. The problem is, ever since she
hangers.
found out, which was last December, I forget when
This
is
is the baby.
She's here.
She's been pregnant for 2 years.
She has not wanted sex. Is this normal?
How long has it been? Sorry.
Well, I don't actually know the date on when I received
She's had the baby
this,
or she's pregnant? She's
pregnant. So in theory, in this email, she is pregnant. The problem is ever since she found out, which was last December, she has not wanted sex. Is this normal? So is it okay if a pregnant woman does not want to have sex with you?
Yes, it's normal. A lot of women go through that. I am not a woman. I haven't felt it myself.
I went through this.
You went through that?
I will tell you a story
Yeah.
because I wasn't able to tell the story when I was pregnant, but it's something I want to talk about on the show because I think a lot of couples go through this. Being pregnant is a really hard time. It's a wonderful time. But for me, when I was pregnant, I wasn't in love with the idea at first. I had hormones racing through my body. There was changes going on that I couldn't see, but
the life
I could definitely
that you know
feel.
is over.
But that's the biggest thing. The life that you know in your mind is over, right? And you have to start grieving a little bit and sorting through all these new changes. For me, I was really down for the first 3 months. It was very strange. I didn't want to see anybody. Also, because I couldn't tell anybody, although I was telling everybody, except for people on this podcast. But I had a really hard time in those first 3 months. And in those first 3 months, I had a really strong dislike for my husband. It was
It was like, you did this to me.
Yeah.
Look what I have to deal with
You
now
knocked
because of
me up.
you.
It was really weird, like very strong, where I was analyzing everything that he was doing, judging. Because
I feel that way when my boyfriend makes me a really heavy meal, and I'm like, "You did this to me. You see this? You see this bloat?
Now I'm bloated. It's all
what
your
I have
fault.
to
We're
deal
not
with."
having sex for 2 years because of this.
But you would say that your feelings were perfectly natural.
Natural to me.
Yeah,
at
natural
that
to
time.
you at that time. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think Marni has the type of personality where she's very business oriented. She has goals. I mean, I'm not saying that women who don't have their own business aren't goal oriented, but they may want that lifestyle of being the mom and being inside and, you know, having those
I don't even know if
responsibilities.
that's what it was tied to be honest. It's also like a nesting thing. You start to see dust everywhere in your house because you're like, okay, how is the baby going to be in here if it's dirty? And then you're like, you're making the dirt. I want you out of here.
Wow.
Like there was one
It's a whole new world, huh?
Like we go on
world.
Loveline a lot. And I remember saying to Mike Catherwood, because his wife was pregnant as well, and I said, do you think this is normal that I hate my husband right now? Like I literally want to take his head and smash it into the coffee table. And he said, to tell you the truth, my wife just let me back into the bedroom after 4 months because you don't. It's weird. Like she should say, she's like, something about your face makes me want to kill it. Like it's just a thing that happens to some
Can
women.
people
Not
get that
all
without
women.
being pregnant?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I have no idea what it is. It may be issues we have to work. I don't know. But once that second trimester came, I was like, I love you. You're the best man ever. But I was able to be really open with my husband about these feelings, and he took it wonderfully. He didn't.
Great.
I don't know if he was, talking to somebody else on the other side, so that he was okay with it. But it was really challenging. But I remember this one time we were in Hawaii, and it was about sex and not wanting to be touched because I just felt so unsexy. Every nerve ending of mine felt just horrible and icky, even from anybody else. I just wanted nobody to touch me. And we were sort of like being playful with each other, and he came up to me and he went to kiss me, and he licked my lip at first, and my first reaction was, I'm going to punch you. And I punched him in the stomach.
Wow.
I punched, and he's like, what? He's like, what up? What's up? Like, why did you do that?
He didn't then
and
turn punch you in the stomach.
I know, exactly. He's got strength, that guy.
That would
He
be a
should.
Yeah.
But he's like, why did you do that? And I said, I have no idea. But that's literally what my body said to do. I did not want anybody coming into my space and being near me in that way. I didn't want to cuddle with him. And again, that changed after the second trimester. So to this guy, I don't know where she is in her pregnancy, but absolutely, yes, it can be normal.
To this listener, unless you want to get punched in the stomach, I would just accept that it's a necessary part of the pregnancy for many women.
I think as a
know?
man, try to imagine the change that your body would be going through if you had something like this going on, so that you can have a little sympathy toward a woman.
I was just saying before, I get angry if I get less than 6.5 hours sleep at night. Like I get moody and angry and upset.
I'm less than 10.
Just
Don't even come near me.
Lethargic.
Yeah.
So imagine a pregnant woman who's only getting 4 or 5 hours sleep a night and who's like sleeping on its side and
so
feels bloated
and you feel so unsexy. Although I kind of felt sexy when I was pregnant. I was finally able to wear the tight dresses that I never wore before.
Do you have an excuse for the bloat?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, here's the belly, show it off. But I wouldn't say it's because I was mad at him for doing this. I don't actually know what the reason was, to be honest. I talked to a lot of other women about this just to try and figure out what was going on. And I think it's a mixture of hormones, subconscious
absolutely
thoughts,
what it is.
it's changes.
Hormones,
It's all of this stuff that goes on. And a lot of my female friends had said that it was a real okay, my husband and I communicate a lot, and I do what I do, so I'm constantly doing research on this. I understand psychology. I'm asking questions constantly. A lot of couples don't talk about things, so that I think that this is where a lot of trouble starts for a lot of couples, because they don't talk about this during the time period about what's actually going on. They're not honest with each other, and it creates a divide. And then a lot of couples continue to not have sex throughout their entire pregnancy. My husband and I, we did. I craved sex in the second and third trimester. I was super horny. I wanted to have sex. But I think a lot of couples, if they start off without communicating about that first trimester or about the challenges that both sides are going through, I think it creates a huge divide. Because when that baby comes, it's an even bigger divide. You're on no sleep. You're snapping at each other. It's a hard time for couples. Yeah,
I think your listener should just be really conscious of having great communication with his pregnant wife.
Oh, absolutely.
And just talk to her about it. And say to it, it's great that you emailed in the girls and asked for advice from them, but talk to your wife about it. Talk to her, how are you feeling right now? She'll probably say, get away from me. Don't touch me. But you just have to accept that's part of the process, right? That's part of what she is going through.
Right.
So, but have that communication, reach out to her and talk to her about it, and don't take it personally if she's not turned on by you at this stage. Yeah. Don't worry, she'll be turned on by you again.
Yeah, well, let's hope.
Yeah, let's hope. Fingers crossed.
If you handle this period of time with grace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, next question, and this will be our last one. All right, let's get a good one in here. All right. Okay. Hi, ladies and guest. I noticed that most of the women I have ever dated liked me from the moment we met. It was just a matter of creating a relationship and moving it forward. For the women I've had sex with, this was entirely the case. All of them already liked me. Conversely, I have had very little success at getting dates with women to whom I was attracted, but did not feel they were attracted to me. I've not been good at turning on disinterested women, overriding judgment, getting more attention than what's polite, or at changing minds. Am I being too negative, or do you think I'll be better off if I give up on the women I'm attracted to unless I can tell she's already interested in me early on? Thanks.
That's interesting.
It's an interesting question.
Yeah, it is an interesting question. I mean, maybe the ones that he's really attracted to, he's having a confidence problem with. You know, he is. And we were talking about energy at the beginning of the show. The energy that's coming off is maybe he's a little bit needy. Maybe he's a little bit desperate. I'm sure he doesn't think that he is, but maybe he's putting out that vibe. It happened to me for a long time. I kind of can resonate with your listener's story. I went through a phase where I was very successful with women who I was kind of like, only attracted to. And then the women who I was like really attracted to, I would talk myself out of it and go, And it was almost like I want to be the rock star with a bunch of 6s and 7s. Sorry, ladies, this is how guys talk, you know, in terms of the looks department, rather than like stumble my way through and have a few losses with an 8, 9, or a 10. So it's a confidence issue. For me, it was just confidence. And then once I found a beautiful woman who was a 9 out of 10. I guess that any guy would say she's a 9. And I had dated her, and it was great, and it was wonderful. I just all of a sudden had my confidence back, and then all of a sudden 8 was my new benchmark. You know, now I'm only going to approach girls who I consider to be an 8. So for him, I think it's just probably a confidence issue. The way to get over it is just to get over it, which is you have to go out there and just put yourself in that discomfort phase of just approaching the most attractive women in the room. If you go into a restaurant or a bar, don't approach the 7s, approach the 9s in your mind, and just get practice and fail. And then practice, and then go again and fail.
Well,
and then,
something I find really interesting is like, is this person a mind reader? Like, how do you know that they're not interested in you?
Yeah.
And then why are you fixated on changing their mind? Like,
I know.
How do you know?
He's talking himself out of it. He is talking himself out of it. And so he's like, because the girls who are into him are showing their body language a little bit more and giving him signs.
Touching him and flirting and
they're like, he's used to that kind of visual stimuli. And then these other girls who he actually likes are not giving that to him. Maybe they're just taking their time. Doesn't mean they don't like him.
Exactly.
But maybe they're just taking their time to see whether they will like him. And he's freaking out because, oh my God, I'm used to the girls just like dropping on their knees.
Or they're mirroring your body language as well, where you're like, hey, you're not into me. So then you take a step back and you cover up your body language. Well, there's a lot of things that can be going on.
I have a lot in common with him. And I've always had a major problem talking to people that I considered above me or that intimidated me. If I don't think you intimidate me, I appear completely confident and cool. But then the people like in the industry, like pursuing show business and stuff like that, the minute I find out, oh, he's a manager and he works with this person, and oh, they've done this, and she's friends with this person that's gotten to this point in their career, all of a sudden I shrink and I put out a really insecure energy. So I just think that's, like you were kind of, like James was saying a minute ago, I think that's what it is that his energy changes when he's intimidated by somebody. And that you put on a pedestal.
Good answers, guys. All right, well, that is the end of our show. But again, to get in touch with James, you say it. You spell it out. You say where they go to.
Yeah, you should go to the Alpha Male Club podcast on iTunes, the Alpha Male Club podcast on iTunes, and get me on Twitter and Instagram at James Swanwick, JamesSwanwick. Swanwick is the spelling.
The W is silent.
Is the pronunciation.
And if you have questions for Overanalyze This, send them to Ask Women Podcast. And then also, you can get new episodes of the Ask Women Podcast every Thursday. You can choose to subscribe so you don't have to actually actively download them. If you subscribe, then they just automatically go into
your funnel, as Marni calls
it. Yes, but you have them. You wake up in the morning, you have it. They're in your funnel. Hopefully, you'll wake up in the morning and have it, because sometimes it's not up there, and that's not our fault, but it'll be up there very shortly.
Ray just gave us a look.
Yeah, he's like, that was last week. It's not happening this week. All right.
Wait. Just also follow Marni and I also on Twitter.
Oh, yes.
And follow us on Ask Women Podcast on Twitter, but also follow me at Kristen Carney. I need some followers.
Yes, and I'm at Wing Girl Method. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Ask Women Podcast. Go to podcastone.com next week for a brand new show.